In this lesson, we're going to learn about graphing and solving inequalities. The first section, we're going to focus on graphing simple inequalities, like you can see in this example. An inequality is like an equation. Both have symbols. An equation, as you know, has an equal sign. An inequality can have one of four different signs, including greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, less than, or greater than. Both can tell you the value of a variable. An equation tells you exactly what a variable equals. So in this example, x equals -2. I know the only answer is -2. An inequality tells you a range of values that could be the variable. So in this example, x is greater than or equal to -2. I know my answer could be -2, or -1, or 0, or 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, all the way up to positive infinity. So again, an equation has one exact answer. An inequality has a range of possible answers. We need to work on being able to identify inequality symbols. The first one we're going to talk about is the less than symbol. How do you know a symbol is less than? Well, our first clue is when we're reading left to right, which is how we read books. It's how we should always read equations. From left to right, if you see the smaller end first, you know you have a less than symbol. Another clue is that the less than symbol looks like a bent L. And of course, that's what less than starts with. So you can always remember less than, bent L. The next symbol we're going to talk about is a less than or equal to symbol. How do you know that a symbol is less than or equal to? Well, the same clues apply because this is a less than. If I'm reading it left to right, if I see the smaller end first, I know that I'm talking about a less than. Also, again, it can look like a bent L. Another clue that it's equal to is that you can see that the symbol is underlined. That actually represents half of an equal sign. So if I have that underline, then that means my symbol is also equal to. The next symbol we're going to talk about is the greater than symbol. How do I know a symbol is greater than? Well, just like with less than, if I'm reading left to right, but I see the bigger side come first, then I know that my symbol is a greater than. Also, just keep in mind that it doesn't look like a bent L because it would be backwards. The next symbol we're going to talk about is greater than or equal to. In a greater than or equal to symbol, how do I know? Well, the same clues apply, where I have the bigger side that comes first, so I know that it's greater than. Also, I know that if it's underlined, that's representing equal to because it's half of an equal to sign. So again, bigger side first means greater than, and if it's underlined, it means equal to. Now we're going to talk about the different graphing symbols that we're going to be using. The first thing I'd like you to do is identify the inequality symbol used in each of these problems. What inequality symbol is in A? What inequality symbol is in B? What inequality symbol do you see in C? What inequality symbol is in D? As we see, we have less than because we have the smaller side and it's not underlined. Greater than because I have the bigger side and it's not underlined. Less than or equal to because I have the smaller side first and it's underlined. And greater than or equal to because I have the bigger side first and it's underlined. The next thing we need to understand are the symbols that we'll be using to identify the beginning of our graph. Whenever we have something that is not equal to, we're going to have an open dot. So for less than or greater than, without the underline, so it's not equal to, we have the open dot, which means the value of the inequality is not included in the answer. X is less than 0 does not include 0 as part of its answer. Likewise, if it is equal to, we're going to have a closed dot. That means the value of the inequality is included in the solution. So for example, less than or equal to does include 0 as one part of its possible answer range. The next decision we need to make are the directions of the arrow, which is showing you what is included in the range of answers. If I have a less than symbol, I'm going to have an arrow going to the left, which shows me that my answer range is going to decrease. Again, thinking of less than, we're decreasing to the left, all the way to negative infinity if we were to continue our number line. So I always like to think less than left, less than left. If I have a greater than symbol, I'm going to have an arrow to the right, which shows me that my answer range is increasing all the way to positive infinity if I was to continue on my number line. So for example, x is greater than or equal to 0, means 0, closed dot, because it's included in my answer, and all of the numbers that are greater than 0. So that's why my arrow is going to go to the right. So just to recap, if it's not equal to, it'll have an open dot. If it's equal to, it'll have a closed dot. So then that you're looking for an underline or no underline. If it's greater than, my arrow is going to go to the right, showing my answers are increasing. If it's less than, my arrows are going to go to the left to show it's decreasing. And again, I always try and remember less than left. We're going to take a look at example 1. The first thing we need to do is number our number line. We're going to start by putting the value of the inequality at the center of our number line. Then we're going to identify the values that are increasing from that number, as well as the values that are decreasing from that number. So again, I have my number that is part of the inequality to start us off. I show the numbers that are increasing, and I show the numbers that are decreasing. The next decision we have to make is what inequality symbol do we see in example 1? Hopefully you saw that this was a less than or equal to symbol because it has the smaller side coming first when reading left to right, as well as the underline, which means that it's equal to. Our next decision, will it be an open or a closed dot? Hopefully we saw that it should be an open dot because it does have the equal to line. So that means 3 is included in our solution. The last decision that we need to make is whether or not it's going to have a left or right arrow. Are my values in my range decreasing to the left or increasing to the right? Well, I know that a less than has a left arrow, less than left, because my answer values are decreasing from my starting value. So this is our final answer for example 1, because I'm going to start at the value 3, which is included because it's an equal to, so we have a closed dot, and then my arrow's to the left because it's less than. So all of my answers for x are any number 3 and less. Go ahead and try your best on example 2. You got this. So the first thing we had to do was number our number line. Notice how we have the starting value in the center. Then we have the numbers that increase and the numbers that decrease coming afterwards. It might be a little tricky to remember that when you're numbering from negatives, that we do jump up to -3, -4, as we increase all the way to negative infinity. And of course, as we increase, we're on our way towards positive infinity. The next thing we should have done was identify this symbol as a greater than symbol. Notice how it's not equal to because there's no underline on the symbol. Next, we're going to decide that it has an open dot because it is not equal to. -2 is not part of our solution, so we leave it as an open dot. Lastly, we decide that it's going to have an arrow to the right because it's a greater than. Again, when it's greater than, all of my values are going to be increasing, which is to the right. So all of my answers, not including -2, or anything greater, which is -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to positive infinity. And there's our answer for example 2. Go ahead and try your best with example 3. You are amazing and you can do this. So as we can see for our answer to example 3, we had a greater than or equal to symbol. So we started our number line at 6. We have our numbers increasing and decreasing. We have a closed dot because it was equal to, and our arrow is to the right because we were greater than. Not too shabby. You've completed the notes for this section of the lesson. Go ahead and complete the practice problems to check your understanding. Thanks so much for being awesome.